To control your words, your mind, your emotions, and your money, you begin to take control of your destiny. When you speak less, you hear more. When your mind grows quiet, you begin to hear your true inner voice. When you master your emotions, chaos loses its power over you. And when you manage your money with clarity, you stop trading peace for survival. The battle of life is not out there, it is deep within each of us. At first, it doesn't look like a battle. When you learn to control your words, your mind, your emotions, and your money, you begin to take control of your destiny. When you speak less, you hear more. When your mind grows quiet, you begin to hear your true inner voice. When you master your emotions, chaos loses its power over you. And when you manage your money with clarity, you stop trading peace for survival. The battle of life is not out there. It is deep within each of us. At first, it doesn't look like a battle. It just feels like ordinary days. You say something in anger, you react too quickly, you buy something you don't need, you sink into thoughts that stir confusion in your mind. Then hours later you realize it wasn't them, it was you who drained your own energy. The real enemy is not in the world outside. It hides within every moment you believe you are in control but actually are not. In the beginning, when you try to hold yourself back, it seems as though nothing changes. The mind rebels, words push to escape, emotions flare like fire. But if you can remain calm enough to stay still, something quietly begins to happen. Your silence becomes strength. Your restraint becomes power. And each time you pause before acting on impulse, you are building a layer of disciplined armor, one that no one can take from you. The world out there constantly teaches you to speak louder, react faster, and spend more. But true power lies in the opposite direction. Strength is not about conquering others. It's about conquering yourself. Each time you choose silence over argument, focus over distraction, patience over reaction, you lose nothing. You are reclaiming your own sovereignty. One day you will realize that control is not confinement. It is liberation. Because when your words are measured, your mind is clear, your emotions are calm, and your money serves your values instead of your desires, you walk through life with genuine freedom. Freedom does not come from doing whatever you want, but from knowing exactly what you are doing and why. That is the moment you stop living in reaction and start living by choice. And in that very moment, true power begins to belong to you. And then they call it time's fate. Asterisk. But the truth is, fate doesn't punish anyone. It merely reflects the level of self-mastery you've achieved. You can see this in the smallest moments when you argue and feel the urge to say the last word just to prove you're right. When you reach for your phone to buy something you don't need just to fill an inner void. When you want to say something hurtful because there's still unhealed pain inside you. No one becomes wealthy because of luck. They become wealthy because they know when to say times no to fleeting emotions, no to meaningless desires, no to anything that breaks their focus. Likewise, those who maintain inner peace are not blessed with an easier life. They are simply strong enough to remain still amid the storm. They don't wait for the world to quiet down before they find calm. They become calm, and the world quiets itself. Most people don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they lack the control to keep it once it arrives. They let words ruin relationships. They let emotions destroy reason. They let a lack of discipline erase years of effort. And then they call it time's fate. Asterisk. But the truth is, fate doesn't punish anyone. It merely reflects the level of self-mastery you've achieved. They claim to be living true to their feelings, but in truth they are being driven by them. Freedom is not saying everything you think. Freedom is being able to think everything but speaking only what is necessary, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, because you understand the consequences of your words. Asterisk. That times is intelligence. Someone once asked, why restrain yourself? Isn't it exhausting to control everything? What they don't realize is that control is not suppression, it is choice. Control is the art of placing your hands on the steering wheel of your life, instead of letting instinct drive you in the dark. When you master your reactions, you begin to master your results. And when you master your results, you begin to master your life. The difference between success and failure often lies in a single second, the second you choose silence instead of argument, patience instead of impulse, thought instead of anger. One small second, yet it determines the direction of your life. That's why control isn't rigidity, it's disciplined freedom. It doesn't kill emotion, it transforms emotion into energy that serves your purpose. People say success comes from perseverance, but perseverance cannot exist without control. Because if you can't control your words, you'll destroy the relationships you need. If you can't control your mind, fear and doubt will consume you. Asterisk. That times is intelligence. No word, no event, no sum of money can take away your inner peace. And that is the beginning of true freedom. The kind that comes only when you know without a doubt that your hands are firmly on the wheel of your own life. There's a truth few people want to accept. No one defeats you except yourself. Your greatest enemy is not adversity nor other people, but your own moments of weakness, impulse, and lack of control. Everything you've ever lost, relationships, opportunities, reputation, confidence, even peace, began the moment you let emotion or fleeting desire override reason. And from the moment you learn to pause for just 1 second, everything in life begins to change. Self-control is the only bridge between dreams and reality. Because every dream is beautiful, but only discipline can make it real. Everyone wants happiness, but few learn to stay silent when misunderstood. Everyone wants financial freedom, but few can resist the urge to spend and instead invest for the future. Everyone wants peace, but few are willing to sit still long enough to face themselves. Every great thing is built on the foundation of control, and no one else can lay that foundation for you. A wise person is not someone who knows much, but someone who knows when to stop. They understand that words can kill trust, that actions driven by anger can destroy an entire journey, and that one emotional decision can undo years of effort. So they choose silence. They choose to slow down. They choose to master themselves before mastering the world. And in that stillness, they discover true power, the power of freedom. Do you want to know the difference between ordinary people and truly successful ones? Ordinary people act on emotion. Successful people act on principle. Ordinary people let circumstances lead them. Successful people use discipline to lead circumstances. One person says something and regrets it for months. The other pauses, smiles, and preserves both respect and relationship. One spends money to feel happy. The other uses money as a tool to create value. One waits for inspiration to act. The other acts to create inspiration. These are two different worlds, separated by a single decision to control or to react. Self-control doesn't make life colder. It makes everything deeper. When you're no longer swept away by emotion, you begin to see what truly matters. When you no longer say everything you think, you begin to hear your inner voice. When you stop spending to impress, you start spending to build value. And when you learn to stay silent in anger, you realize that peace is a quiet form of power. Every solid achievement is built with the bricks of discipline. No champion wins because they always feel ready. They win because they show up even when they don't want to. No one attains financial freedom because they earn a lot, but because they control how they use what they earn. No one achieves peace because life is easy, but because they know how not to let outer chaos disturb their inner calm. Control doesn't remove the storm, it teaches you how to stand tall when it comes. If you look closely, every mistake shares the same origin, the loss of a single moment of awareness. One careless word, one hasty action, one emotional purchase, one negative thought, believed as truth. Just 1 second and the outcome changes. But if you pause, breathe deeply, and observe yourself, everything can change again. That's the power of self-control. It doesn't stop the storm. It keeps you from being swept away by it. Self-control isn't about winning once. It's about winning again and again. Every day you overcome one reaction, you move closer to a stronger version of yourself. It's like building a bridge. No one crosses it overnight. You lay each stone, one of silence, one of patience, one of restraint, one of awareness. And one day when you look back, you'll see that you've crossed a chasm you once thought impossible. The strange thing is, the more you control yourself, the less you feel the need to control others. Because when you stand firm, you're no longer shaken by anyone's actions or words. Those who lack control always try to control the world. Those who have control only master themselves, and the world naturally aligns around them. That's why great leaders, truly successful people, radiate a quiet yet powerful energy. They don't shout, they don't argue, they don't boast, they simply exist, and their presence alone commands silence. Remember, every dream needs a bridge to cross into reality. That bridge is not built from luck or talent, but from discipline and control. Each time you choose silence over impulse, patience over haste, saving over waste, you place another stone on that bridge, leading to where you want to go. And one day, you'll find yourself on the other side, a place few ever reach, because most gave up halfway, unable to control themselves. So don't wish for an easier life. Wish to become stronger. Don't wish for the world to quiet down. Learn to be still within the noise. Don't wait for someone to lead you. Learn to take the reins of your own mind. When you do that, everything in life begins to fall into place, not because luck has changed, but because you have. And when you change, the entire universe changes with you. Asterisk, asterisk. Have you ever blamed yourself, asterisk, asterisk, for losing your temper, for saying something you shouldn't have, for spending money impulsively, or for letting your mind drift into meaningless worries? You feel weak. You feel undisciplined. And sometimes you even feel ashamed. But I want you to stop and listen carefully. You are not weak. You are human. Your mind is not against you. It's simply doing what millions of years of evolution have trained it to do: seek pleasure and avoid pain. When you get angry, when you're afraid, when you spend to fill an emptiness or say something that hurts others, it's not destruction. It's your brain trying to protect you from emotions it doesn't yet know how to handle. Anger is a shield, not a weapon. Overspending is a way to escape the feeling of lack. And silence sometimes is not calm, it's fear of being hurt once more. When you understand this, you stop judging yourself and begin to observe yourself with compassion. No one grows by punishing themselves. True strength isn't about never making mistakes. It's about facing your mistakes without hating yourself. Only when you're gentle with yourself can you become strong enough to change. Your impulses are not enemies, they're signals. They're telling you that something inside you needs to be heard. When you react too quickly, it's because there's an unnamed fear inside. Maybe it's the fear of being dismissed, abandoned, disrespected, or the fear of not being enough. Once you see the root, you stop trying to suppress your emotions, you start to guide them. Like a rider holding the reins, you don't need to whip the horse, you just need to understand what it's afraid of. Emotions are not the enemy, they're messengers leading you to awareness. The problem isn't whether you have emotions, but how you treat them. Those who don't understand emotions try to eliminate them. Those who do learn to listen. Are you angry? Ask times. What part of me feels threatened times? Are you sad? Ask times. What part of me needs love times? When you ask the right questions, emotions become your teacher, not your warden. We are taught how to fight the world, but rarely how to live in peace with ourselves. Society praises those who are tough, fast, and assertive, but seldom tells you that sometimes the greatest strength is to sit still and observe. When you can watch your anger without reacting, you've begun to control your mind. When you can observe your sadness without judgment, you've begun to master your emotions. And when you can witness the urge to spend without giving in, you've begun to control your money. Emotions are energy. They can't be erased, only transformed. The energy of fear can become the energy of discipline. The energy of anger can become the energy of action. The energy of pain can become the energy of deep understanding. Every time you face an emotion, instead of running from it, you're training an invisible strength, the strength of awareness. And awareness is the foundation of all control. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You just need to be honest with what you feel. Allow yourself to feel times, but don't let emotions dictate your actions. Acknowledge your fear, but don't let it drive your direction. Accept your weakness, but don't believe you'll stay weak forever. Emotions are like waves, they come and go, but they do not define the ocean. And you are that ocean, wider, deeper, and calmer than any wave. When you understand how you work, you stop fighting yourself. You begin to see that control isn't about battling, it's about observing, listening, and choosing. You don't need to shout to be strong. You only need to be quiet long enough to hear the voice within. That stillness, that awareness, is a form of power no one can take away. It doesn't need to be loud. It shows itself in every decision you make, every word you choose, every dollar you keep, and every moment of anger you release. Remember, you're not weak because you feel overwhelmed. You're simply learning to understand yourself. And when you understand, you no longer need to suppress, you just need to lead. That's the difference between those who are ruled by emotions and those who master them. One lives like a leaf in the wind, blown by every change. The other like a rooted tree, the wind still blows, but the roots do not move. And from the moment you understand that emotions are not enemies but doors to self-mastery, you will no longer fear yourself. You'll begin to see every loss of control as a lesson, not a failure. You'll enter each new day with calm confidence, because you know this. You don't have to be perfect to be free. You just have to be honest and steadfast on the journey of mastering yourself. The human mind is like a wild horse. It is powerful, untamed, full of energy. And if it is trained, it can carry you beyond every limit. But if you let it run on instinct, it will drag you into the abyss without asking permission. The mind is the greatest tool, but it is also the most dangerous traitor if you don't know how to hold the reins. Imagine you're standing before a vast field, holding the reins of a wild horse named Mind. Whenever you're angry, it neighs. Whenever you're afraid, it jerks backward. Whenever you desire something, it lunges forward uncontrollably. And most of the time, this horse has no idea where you want to go. It only follows the scent of emotion. When it feels fear, it flees. When it feels pleasure, it gives chase. When it feels hurt, it kicks everything around it. And you, the one holding the reins, think you've been betrayed by your horse. But the truth is, it has simply never been trained. Millions live their whole lives without ever learning to ride the horse of their mind. They are pulled by fear, led by desire, controlled by unhealed memories. They run, fall, hurt, and then keep running, never knowing why they're so exhausted. Those who know how to hold the reins don't beat force or flee. They observe, they understand. They learn to speak to the mind in the tone of peace, not coercion. They know that if you want to go far, you cannot whip the horse. You must earn its trust. You cannot control the mind with fear. You can only lead it with awareness. When you try to force yourself to stop thinking, the mind only screams louder. But when you watch it like a frightened child, it gradually settles. You say, "I see you're worried. I understand." And with that sentence spoken in silence, you create a space between you and the thought. That space is freedom. A wild mind isn't bad, it just lacks direction. Like a horse born to run, the mind is born to think. It never stops. The problem isn't that you think too much, but that you don't know how to choose a direction for that stream of thought. If you don't lead it, the mind will return to familiar roads, the roads of anxiety, comparison, self-blame, and regret. It will wander the desert of the past and the future, while the present, the only place you can act, is left behind. Learning to hold the reins of the mind is learning to pause in the middle of your thoughts and ask, does this take me where I want to go? The question seems simple, but it is the key that opens the door to awareness. Because the moment you ask, you become the driver, no longer the passenger. And the one who masters the mind will sooner or later master emotions, actions, and destiny. An uncontrolled mind is like a strong wind sweeping across a meadow. It can blow apart your career, your love, and your trust. But a mind guided by awareness is like wind directed into a sail. It carries the boat far. It's the same force, yet the outcomes are entirely different. The difference lies in one thing only: whether you are holding the reins. And like every wild horse, the mind cannot be tamed in a day. It needs time, patience, and above all, presence. You cannot train a horse if you are never at the stable. Every time you let your mind wander into your phone, into toxic relationships, into the past that's gone, you are letting the reins slip from your hands. But when you sit down, breathe deeply, and watch your stream of thoughts pass without judgment, you are placing your hands on the reins again. Something remarkable happens when you do this long enough. The mind begins to trust you. It learns to stop when you give a gentle pull. It learns to be quiet when you need focus. It learns to wait while you observe. And then, like a trained horse, it no longer drags you around. It moves with you to the rhythm of your heart, aligned with your vision. At that point, all the energy that once threw you into turmoil becomes the power that carries you farther than ever. Those who cannot control their minds will always be led by the world. They say what they don't want to say, buy what they don't need, and live a life they didn't truly choose. But those who know how to hold the reins of the mind can pass through any storm without losing direction. They don't let outer noise drown out the inner call.
They don't react to everything, they choose to respond to what's worthy, and it is precisely that calm that sets them apart. There's an old saying, he who defeats 1,000 enemies is not necessarily strong. He who defeats himself is the true hero. The wild horse within you does not need to be destroyed, it needs guidance. It is the source of creativity, passion, and vitality, but you must be the one holding the reins.
If you don't lead it, it will lead you, and the road it chooses often has no end. Remember, you cannot live a directed life with a wild mind. You cannot speak wisely with an uncontrolled mouth. You cannot keep peace with undisciplined emotions. And you cannot have financial freedom if your money follows emotion instead of reason. It all begins with one thing: learning to hold the reins of the horse called mind.
One of the greatest mistakes on the journey of self-development is that people try to force themselves to change. They try not to get angry, try not to spend, try not to worry, try not to react. But you cannot control your life through tension and resistance. You can only master it by transforming your identity when you stop pretending to be disciplined, and start becoming a naturally disciplined person. Control is not effort, it is instinct reprogrammed. When you focus on trying you send the opposite message to your brain that you are not yet that person. But when you believe I am calm you begin to act like a calm person. When you believe I am disciplined you begin to live like one. Identity drives action, and action reinforces identity. That is the cycle of transformation. Every lasting habit begins with identity. A non-smoker isn't someone who constantly tries not to smoke, they simply don't smoke asterisk. A calm person isn't someone who's always fighting anger, they simply don't allow anger to define who they are. The difference lies between I'm trying to act differently, and I am someone different. Asterisk. When you change the inner story, the outer behavior naturally follows. If you keep telling yourself I must try to control myself, you're unconsciously affirming that you lack control. But when you begin to say I am calm, I am someone who thinks before reacting.
I am someone who spends with clarity. I am someone who speaks less but with precision. you're rewriting your internal code. The brain cannot distinguish between truth and repetition. It believes whatever you repeat long enough. That's why the words you say to yourself matter more than any advice from the outside world. Remember, you cannot build a new life on an old identity. If you still see yourself as the short-tempered one, the undisciplined one, the spender, the overreactor, then no matter how many books you read or lectures you hear, your subconscious will pull you back to the old pattern. So instead of asking times, what must I do to change times, ask times, who do I want to become times? Once you answer, that action becomes the natural next step. Truly disciplined people don't live under restraint. They don't feel forced.
They simply live in alignment with their new identity. Like an artist, they don't think times, I must be creative today, times, they just times are times creative. Like an athlete, they don't think times, I have to train times, they simply do what people like them do. Discipline is no longer a burden, it becomes instinct. You can begin with small but powerful affirmations. Each morning when you look in the mirror, say times, I am calm, I am intentional. I am someone who knows when silence is wiser. I use money as a tool, not as a drug. Asterisk. At first you may not believe it, but day by day, as your words align with your actions, that belief seeps into your blood. And one day you won't need to repeat it anymore. You'll times become times what you once said. What's remarkable is that when you change your identity, you don't just change your behavior, you change your energy. Truly disciplined people radiate a unique energy, a calm certainty that makes others naturally trust them.
They don't shout, prove, or argue. Their very presence brings peace. That is the power of identity, reinforced through consistent action. When you become disciplined, you no longer have to force yourself not to spend. You simply feel that reckless spending is beneath you. You don't have to hold back your anger. You know your true self doesn't stoop to that level. You don't have to struggle not to react. You understand that those who react are those who haven't yet grown. You don't try times to do the right thing. You times the right thing. That is freedom within discipline, the deepest form of freedom one can ever experience. One day when you look back, you'll realize everything in your life has changed, not because you tried harder, but because you became someone different. You no longer chase motivation, you create it. You're no longer pulled by emotions, you guide them. You no longer strive to control you. Times naturally. Times embody control. At that point, you stop fighting yourself. You simply live fully, consciously, and peacefully. Remember, true change doesn't begin with action, but with identity. When you choose to become a disciplined person, everything in your life begins to revolve around that discipline. Your words, your behavior, your habits, your finances. All of it bears the mark of the new self you've chosen to be. And when you live fully as that self, the world is no longer something to control. It becomes a mirror reflecting the strength of the person you've become within. No one can master themselves through giant leaps. True change doesn't come from a burst of motivation. It comes from small habits repeated daily. A person doesn't become calm by reading one book or listening to one inspiring talk. They become calm because each morning in the first 5 minutes of the day, they choose stillness over haste. And those 5 minutes, small as they seem, become the foundation for a lifetime of discipline. Imagine your morning starting differently. Before touching your phone, before checking your emails or thinking about work, you sit still, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and whisper to yourself, times, today I will speak less and listen more. I will respond slowly and choose wisely. I will spend less and understand why I spend. Asterisk. That's it. Yet in that moment, you reclaim control, not through pressure, but through presence. The first 5 minutes of your morning are like the rudder of your ship. If you begin in panic, your entire day drifts in chaos. If you begin in calm, every action that follows carries the breath of intention. The mind is like water. When it's still, you can see clearly. When it's disturbed, every reflection is distorted. Those 5 morning minutes are the time for your inner waters to settle and become clear again. Don't underestimate the power of small habits. A single drop of water falling consistently can wear down a stone. A small action, repeated daily, can rewire your nervous system. When you spend 5 minutes each morning to breathe, observe, and set intention, you're teaching your brain that times are the one holding the reins, not the wild horse of emotion. You're creating the golden gap between stimulus and response, the gap every master of self-control treasures. If 5 minutes of silence feels too hard, start with 2. You don't need a complex meditation practice. Just sit still, feel your breath, and observe your mind. Don't push thoughts away, simply watch them pass, as if standing by the roadside, watching cars go by. The longer you observe, the more you realize you are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them, and that realization is the first step to freedom. After your quiet 5 minutes, you can write 3 simple lines in a journal. Asterisk. Today I will hold my tongue when I want to react. Asterisk. Asterisk. Today I will spend money intentionally. Asterisk. Asterisk. Today I will choose calm over competition. Asterisk. 3 small lines, but they are promises to yourself. When you write them, your brain registers them. When you reread them, your mind reinforces them. When you live them, you weave the thread of discipline, and those threads, day after day, become the strong armor that protects you from life's chaos. If you want to control your words, start by listening fully to one person each day without interrupting. If you want to control your mind, give yourself 5 quiet minutes each morning to observe your thoughts. If you want to control your emotions, count to 10 before reacting. If you want to control your money, write down every small expense of the day. 4 small actions, only minutes each, yet enough to change the entire operating system within you. The strange thing is, when you start, small success comes easier. The brain loves consistency, not extremes. If you begin with goals too big, from tomorrow I'll meditate for an hour, or I'll never get angry again, you set yourself up to fail. But when you begin with 5 minutes, you give your brain the chance to win. Each small win builds the belief times I can. Asterisk. And that belief becomes the fuel that takes you further. When you maintain those 5 minutes every morning, you'll start noticing subtle changes throughout your day. You'll speak less, rush less, react less. Others might not notice, but you will feel it deeply. Something inside you has shifted. Like a young tree being watered consistently, you don't see the growth day by day, but after one season, it stands taller and stronger. Discipline is the same. It grows quietly day by day in silence. And once those 5 minutes become familiar, increase them to 10, then 20, then an hour if you wish. But remember, it's not about duration, it's about consistency. A small habit done daily is far more powerful than a great effort done occasionally. So don't ask times, how long until I change times. Ask times, am I doing it consistently times? Because the one who is consistent will always surpass the one who is merely talented but inconsistent. When you can master the first 5 minutes of your day, you begin to master the rest of your day. And when you master your days, you begin to master your life. It all begins with one small act, carrying the strength of an entire journey. It's not the step of the restless, but the step of the awakened. And awakening, that is the highest form of freedom. There are moments when it feels like the whole world is pressing against you. A single sentence wounds you. A message makes your heart race. A silence boils your chest with anger. And before you can think, you react. You say what shouldn't be said. You send a message that hurts someone else. You buy something you don't need. You make a decision you'll later regret. Every great mistake begins in moments like these, when emotion takes the wheel and you don't stop in time. The truth is, in that moment you're not bad, you're just disconnected from yourself. When emotion rises, the brain switches to survival mode. It doesn't care what's right or wrong. It only wants to escape pain immediately. That's why you react, shout, spend, withdraw, or run. Only after the wave passes do you realize you've let emotion drive instead of reason. Resistance is not the enemy, it's the test. Every time you're about to do what's right, resistance appears and asks, do you really want to change? It's that small voice saying, do it tomorrow. It's fine just this once, or you deserve to let go a little. If you believe it, you stay the same. If you overcome it, you rise to a higher level of yourself. And the road through resistance always begins with one act: slowing the world down. Slowing down doesn't mean becoming passive, it means regaining rhythm and control. When emotion drags you, you lose clarity. But when you pause, even for a few seconds, everything changes. Take a deep breath. Count to 10. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. As your breath deepens, blood slows, the heartbeat steadies, and the mind clears. Just 5 seconds of that, and you've pulled yourself out of unconscious reaction into conscious awareness. To slow the world means allowing emotion to pass without reacting. When angry, don't speak. When sad, don't decide. When afraid, don't retreat. Wait until you can speak from calm, not from pain. Because one word in anger can burn what took years to build. One decision in fear can lock away your future. One action in loneliness can create years of regret. Slow down. Just a few minutes, and it might save a lifetime. When emotion rises, try the 2-minute rule. When you want to react, count slowly for 2 minutes. When you want to spend, wait 2 minutes before clicking buy. When you want to vent, write it down, leave it for 2 minutes, then read it again. Those 2 minutes are when you take the reins back. You're no longer being led by emotion, you're leading emotion through the storm. Some people have practiced this habit so well that a single deep breath can change the entire situation. They no longer get swept up by the waves of emotion. They stand firm and watch them pass. They understand the waves are not bad as long as you don't panic and swim against them. They know that beneath every anger lies fear. Beneath every sadness, unhealed pain. Beneath every anxiety, something you haven't yet faced. When you stop long enough, you begin to see them clearly. And when you see, you can choose to respond instead of react. Slowing down is not just an action, it's a philosophy. In an age where everything is designed to rush you, notifications, news, social media pressure, the one who can pause is the truly powerful one. Because every time you stop, you're telling the world, I am the chooser, not the chosen. When you stop, you reclaim control over your time, your space, and your energy. Try this. Next time someone says something that hurts you, don't reply immediately. Breathe deeply, look at them, and give a faint smile. You're not silent because you're weak. You're silent because you're in control. You're keeping your energy, not throwing it away for a temporary burst of anger. Next time you want to spend money to relieve stress, put your card away and step outside for air. When you return, the urge will be gone. You've just won a silent battle. No one saw, but it's these invisible victories that build true strength. Power isn't about never getting upset. It's about how quickly you can return to calm. The person who never feels anger is a fantasy. The one who feels anger yet isn't ruled by it, that's mastery. They feel it too, the rush, the trembling, the urge to react. But in those few seconds they remember, I am the master, not the servant. And that single reminder wins the battle. Slowing down is the bridge between emotion and wisdom. The hurried live in reaction. The mindful live in choice. And only those who live in choice truly live. So each time your heart races, your chest tightens, your breath quickens, take it as a signal to pause. Don't try to erase the emotion, just pull the reins. Emotion is the wild horse, but now you know how to hold the reins. Remember, You don't need to defeat every wave of anger, you just need to survive the first 5 minutes. Because those 5 minutes are the border between freedom and regret. And if you can slow the world down in those 5 minutes, the rest of your life will become much easier. Once you understand the power of self-control, the next important step isn't to try harder times to control yourself. It's to build a system, that makes control effortless. People don't fail because they lack motivation. They fail because they lack systems. Motivation is the spark. Systems are the fuel. The spark fades in days, the fuel keeps the fire alive. A self-control system isn't complicated. It's simply a set of small, intentional habits designed to protect your mind, words, emotions, and money from the chaos of life. The goal of the system isn't to control everything, but to create an environment that naturally leads you to do the right thing. For example, if you want to speak less, keep a conversation journal, After every important talk, write 3 sentences. 1. What did I say that was unnecessary? 2. Did I say anything out of ego? 3. If I could redo this, how would I say it differently? These simple questions act as a mirror that gradually sharpens your awareness of speech. Do it daily, and soon you'll find yourself pausing at the right moment, speaking less, but with more depth. If you want to control your mind build an observation system, Each morning before touching your phone, write down 3 emotions you're truly feeling: tired, grateful, anxious, or excited. Don't judge, just acknowledge. When you write them down, you pull emotions from the subconscious into consciousness. And once emotions are named, they lose control over you. You cannot be ruled by what you can see clearly. If you want to manage your emotions, use the 2-minute reflection rule. Whenever you feel angry, sad, or afraid, don't react immediately. Grab a notebook and write what you're feeling and why you think you feel that way. Then, after 2 minutes, read it again. 9 times out of 10, you'll realize your initial reaction was small compared to the cost of acting on it. Those 2 minutes are the boundary between destruction and preservation. And if you want to manage your money, use the write your reason rule. Before buying anything, write, I'm buying this because. If your answer is because I'm bored, because others have it, or because it makes me feel good, wait 2 days. Only when your answer is because this aligns with my values and goals should you go ahead. This isn't stinginess, it's training your brain to understand that money isn't for soothing emotions, but for expanding your life's value. When you have a system, you no longer depend on emotion. Even when you're tired, unmotivated, or lost, the system still runs. It becomes a wall that shields you from impulsive choices. Like a soldier who's practiced his aim thousands of times in battle, he doesn't have to think. His body just knows. Discipline works the same way. When systemized, it becomes reflex. Look at truly successful people. They're not stronger than you, they just have stronger systems. They know how much sleep they need, how they eat, what they focus on, how they respond to provocation, and where their emotional limits lie. They don't wait until they lose control to fix things. They prevent chaos through design. That's the difference between living by system, and living by emotion, You can start building your own system today. 1. Write a morning and evening emotion journal. 2. Use the 2-minute rule. Before reacting or spending. 3. Review 1 moment each day when you lost control and identify the root cause. 4. Establish 3 non-negotiable principles such as: I don't speak when angry. I don't make decisions in fear. I don't spend money when sad. These small principles become the boundaries that protect your peace. A system doesn't limit your freedom, it protects it. People without principles think they're free, but they're slaves to emotion and circumstance. People with principles may appear restricted, but they're freer than anyone because they rule their own choices. Every anger, every temptation, every pressure is temporary. The person with a system doesn't fight every wave, they simply stand firm knowing every wave passes. And here's the most important truth: don't try to build it perfectly at once. A system isn't built in a day, it's strengthened through hundreds of repetitions. The first day you'll forget. The second day you'll fail. But by the 50th day, when you sit down to journal, breathe deeply, and stop yourself from saying a word you would have once blurted out, you'll understand. Discipline is no longer something you times do asterisk. It's something you times are asterisk. From today onward, think of self-control not as a task to perform, but as a system to construct. Start small, stay consistent, improve gradually. One day you'll realize you no longer have to force calm, you simply times calm. You no longer have to remind yourself to think before speaking. Your words naturally carry weight. You no longer have to push yourself to save, you simply spend only on what's worthy. That's the moment you stop times trying to control yourself times, because you've become someone who's already in control. There's a truth few people realize: humans don't live by willpower, they live by environment.
You can have strong willpower for a day, but if your surroundings pull the other way, eventually you'll lose. That's why wise people don't fight their environment, they redesign it. They understand that instead of forcing themselves to resist temptation, they make temptation harder to reach. And instead of relying on motivation to do the right thing, they make the right thing easier to begin. You can't keep a peaceful mind if every morning begins with your phone notifications and news flooding in. You can't save money if your credit card is always within reach and shopping ads follow you online. You can't control your words if you surround yourself with people who gossip, argue, and complain. The environment is the invisible hand that shapes behavior. If you don't consciously design it, it will unconsciously design you. Start with your physical space. Each morning, instead of keeping your phone beside your bed, leave it across the room. Place a notebook or a blank sheet of paper on your nightstand so when you wake, the first thing you touch is a thought, not information. When you begin your morning in stillness instead of noise, you train your mind to choose peace over chaos. If you want to control your spending, make spending harder. Keep your credit card somewhere not easily accessible, turn off shopping notifications, and create separate accounts, one for saving, one for investing. Whenever you feel the urge to buy, insert at least 2 steps between desire and action, like unlocking a drawer or entering a password. Those 2 small barriers can save you from impulsive choices. If you want to control your speech, distance yourself from negative conversations. Don't try to change others, just change your location.
A room full of complaints drains your energy and provokes reactions. Step out, and you'll start to hear the quiet within yourself again. Every person, every place, every conversation carries a frequency. Choose the ones that lift you higher, not those that pull you down. For emotional control, silence is the strongest medicine. Create a small corner in your home dedicated to stillness. No phone, no TV, no noise. Just a chair, soft light, and your breath. Sit there for 10 minutes a day. You're teaching your brain this is the place of peace. Over time, simply stepping into that space will make your body relax, your heart beat slow, and your mind grow steady. It becomes not just a resting spot, but a place of renewal. To control your mind, design your schedule so you make fewer random decisions. People lose control when they face too many choices. Reduce decision fatigue through structure, eat the same breakfast, keep fixed work hours, set a regular workout time. When small tasks are automated, your mind stays sharp for what truly matters. Every automated decision kills a temptation before it begins. Sometimes, changing your environment also means changing the people around you. Be honest about which relationships make you weaker. If someone constantly makes you defend yourself, step back. If someone always blames others, create distance. If someone constantly complains, stay silent or walk away. not because you're arrogant, but because their energy is reprogramming you every day. You can't live with discipline among those who don't believe in discipline. You can't stay calm in a culture that worships fear. Environment isn't just physical, it's mental. What you read, listen to, watch, and talk about, that's your environment too. If you consume negativity, addictive media, or heavy content, you're living in toxic energy. Be selective. Just changing the first 5 minutes of your day from news to peaceful music or an inspiring talk begins to cleanse your inner space. The key is to make the right thing easy. If you want to exercise, place your workout clothes by your bed. If you want to read, put a book on your breakfast table. If you want to drink more water, keep a bottle in front of you. Each small adjustment sends a message to your brain. This is easy to start. And if you want to reduce bad habits, make them harder. Turn off notifications, delete apps, change passwords, move temptations out of sight. Winners aren't necessarily stronger, they're smarter about how they design their environments. A well-designed environment is like a silent teacher. It doesn't lecture, but it trains you daily. You don't have to force emotional control because your emotions are nurtured in calm spaces. You don't have to strain to save money because spending has become inconvenient. You don't have to fight distractions because they rarely appear. When your environment supports you, control becomes natural. True discipline isn't endless struggle, it's removing the need to struggle. Your environment is your most loyal ally. Make the right things so easy you don't need motivation. Make the wrong things so hard you don't even feel tempted. Then you no longer have to control yourself every minute. Your systems and environment do the hard work for you. And when you live in an environment built for calm, clarity, and discipline, you'll notice something shift inside. You'll speak less, listen deeper, and respond slower. You'll spend with intention, work with focus, and love with awareness. And then you'll realize freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is reaching a place where nothing controls you anymore. One of the greatest turning points in self-development comes when you finally realize this. No one is responsible for your emotions, your actions, or your results, except you. From that moment on, your life begins to change. Because when you stop blaming, you take back your power. And when you take back your power, you begin to master yourself. Most people live in the mindset of a victim. They say, I'm angry because of that person, I failed because of the situation, I'm exhausted because of work, or I'm anxious because of the future. But if you believe the cause lies outside yourself, you are also handing the world control over your emotions. It means that as soon as someone changes their attitude, your feelings change. As soon as conditions shift, you lose your calm. That isn't living, it's reacting. And reaction is the fastest path to losing freedom. The truth is, no one makes you angry. They simply touch the part of you that hasn't been mastered. No one makes you fail. They reveal the limits you haven't yet overcome. No one hurts you. They awaken the pain that hasn't been healed. When you start to see life this way, you stop resenting and start learning. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every difficult person becomes a teacher of self-awareness. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself. It's not saying everything is my fault, but everything is my choice. You can't control others, but you can always control your response. You can't stop the rain, but you can choose to carry an umbrella. You can't make someone love you, but you can choose to love yourself enough not to beg for it. You can't control the market, but you can control how you use your money. Each choice is a declaration times I am responsible for my life. Asterisk. When you take 100% responsibility, you no longer wait for someone to rescue you. You become the driver. Even in hard times, you don't fall into despair because you know you still have the power to choose your response. Others may betray you, but you can choose forgiveness. The world may be chaotic, but you can choose calm. Life may challenge you, but you can choose persistence. Real power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from controlling your own choices. There's a profound saying times. When you blame, you give away your power. Asterisk. Every time you say, I'm like this, because of them, you hand over control of your emotions. Every time you say, I failed because of them, you give them the power to decide your destiny. But when you say, I choose to respond differently, you take control back. When you say, I will try again, you reclaim your strength. Responsibility is the key that unlocks freedom. Modern life makes it easier than ever to fall into the victim mindset. Social media encourages judgment, the media teaches blame, and the world around us convinces us that happiness depends on others. But that's an illusion. No one can hurt you unless you give them that power. No one can make you feel inferior unless you believe you are. Pain only persists when you allow it to stay. Think about this. Two people hear the same insult. One explodes, the other smiles and moves on. The words are the same, but the reactions differ because one acts from instinct, the other from awareness. And only the aware person is free, because freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's not being controlled by what you dislike. Responsibility also opens the door to true growth. When you take responsibility, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? You shift from victim to student. Every event becomes a lesson. Every wound becomes a chance to heal. Every failure becomes the foundation for strength. You no longer live to avoid pain, you live to grow through it. From today, observe your reactions and ask yourself times, am I blaming or am I taking responsibility times? When you say, they made me angry, replace it with, I chose to be angry. When you say, there's nothing I can do, change it to, I haven't chosen to act yet. When you say, I don't have time, reframe it as, I haven't prioritized it. Every time you change your words, you change your life. Language shapes awareness, awareness shapes action, and action shapes destiny. Taking full responsibility isn't easy. It forces you to face the truth that you are the creator of every result in your life. But it is also the greatest liberation. When you no longer need to blame, you stop being stuck. You can fix what you've built. You can change what you've created. And from that moment on, no one and nothing can take away your peace unless you allow it. Remember, no one times makes times you angry, spend money, or lose control. These are all choices, sometimes unconscious ones, but still choices. The key is to make them conscious. Pause, observe, and say to yourself, times I choose calm. Asterisk. Each time you do, you reclaim a piece of your inner territory. And eventually you'll see the world doesn't have to change for you to find peace. You just have to choose peace, and the world around you will begin to change. None of us escapes failure. But what separates those who fall and those who rise again isn't how often they fail, it's how well they control themselves after failure. Failure doesn't destroy you. Your reaction to failure determines who you become. The world teaches us to fear failure. From childhood, we're praised when we're right and punished when we're wrong. So, as adults, we crave perfection, validation, and the appearance of being right. But life doesn't work like school. Out here, you learn by being wrong. You grow by falling. You become stronger by standing back up each time. The only people who never fail are those who never dare to try. Every great person has fallen not once, but hundreds of times. Failure is really a test of control. It doesn't ask how skilled you are. It asks if you can remain calm when everything collapses. Anyone can stay composed in success, but only the truly disciplined stand firm in defeat. They understand that failure doesn't define their worth, it reflects their readiness. And if you're calm enough to look failure in the eye, it will teach you more than 10 victories ever could. There will be moments when it feels like the world has turned against you, when your project falls apart, your relationship ends, or your opportunity disappears. In those moments, you have two choices: to react or to reflect. Reaction means blaming, avoiding quitting. Reflection means pausing, looking deeply, and learning how to move differently. For the one who reacts, failure is an ending. For the one who reflects, failure is a new beginning. If you want to measure your strength, don't look at how you act when you win, look at how you behave after you lose. The weak let failure define them. The strong redefine failure. They don't say, "I lost." They say, "I'm learning." They don't say, "I made a mistake." They say, "I'm improving." When you change the story in your head, your mind transforms. You stop seeing failure as an enemy and start seeing it as a stern but wise teacher. Each scar carries the seed of wisdom. Failure can hurt deeply, but it's also the most powerful medicine for self-mastery. It forces you to be humble, to face your true limits, to learn emotional control when nothing goes your way. Failure is a mirror showing how much control you really have. If you explode in anger, emotions still rule you. If you blame others, you're still living in reaction. But if you pause, breathe, and say, "All right, I'll try again differently," you've already won, not against the world, but against yourself. Some people fear failure so much that they never act. They believe failure will destroy their reputation. But honor isn't lost through failure. It's lost through denial and excuses. People don't respect perfection. They respect those who face their mistakes and keep moving forward. Those with self-control don't fear being wrong, because to them being wrong is just data. Every failure is feedback. They don't drown in emotion. They observe, adjust, and act again. Failure also teaches patience. When things don't go as planned, the undisciplined rush force results or give up. The disciplined slow down, assess, and recalibrate. They know trees need time to grow, and so do people. They focus less on today's outcome and more on tomorrow's direction. Their calm isn't natural. It's forged in the fires of loss built each time they stood up after falling. Here's the paradox. The more control you have over yourself, the less you fear failure. Because you know that even if everything outside collapses, you remain unshaken inside. You may lose money, but not your value. You may lose opportunities, but not your direction. You may lose relationships, but not your faith in the journey. When you no longer fear losing, you become unbreakable. That is real strength. Every failure is a workout for your inner control. You can't build calm in silence, only in storms. You can't build discipline when things go smoothly, only when everything resists you. You can't become your best self without first facing loss. Failure is the training ground for resilience, where you lift the weight of disappointment, fear, and uncertainty to build unshakable character. Don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this failure teaching me?" Maybe it's teaching patience. Maybe it's teaching you to release external control and focus inward. Maybe it's showing you the difference between what you want and what you truly need. Once you learn the lesson, failure loses its power. It stops being a burden and becomes a stepping stone. In the end, success doesn't belong to those who avoid failure, but to those who turn failure into fuel. Every time they fall, they don't ask, "Should I keep going?" They ask, "What must I change to do better next time?" They don't run away from failure, they walk through it. And on the other side, they meet a stronger, calmer, wiser version of themselves. Failure is not a full stop. It's a comma in the sentence of self-mastery. Every time you rise after falling, you're proving to the world that you are not defined by results, but by your response to them. And as long as you can control your response, even if you lose everything else, you'll always keep the most valuable thing of all, mastery over yourself. One of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to discipline and self-control is believing that the goal is the result. They want to reach the destination as fast as possible. They want to see change within a week, a month. But in truth, self-control isn't a destination. It's an endless journey. It's like breathing. You can't take one deep breath and think you're done. You must keep breathing moment by moment, day by day. When you focus too much on results, discouragement comes easily. Results arrive slower than you expect, while emotions change every hour. But when you learn to love the process, you no longer need results to feel valuable. You find joy in doing what's right, not just in succeeding. Every time you stay calm a little longer, you're winning. Every time you speak one sentence less, you're growing. Every time you resist a meaningless desire, you're becoming stronger than yesterday. Success doesn't come from giant leaps, but from small, steady steps. And loving the process is what helps you keep walking. Remember, greatness isn't built in moments of inspiration, but in the quiet days when you don't feel like doing anything and still choose to act. Others may never see those days, but those unseen moments are what shape you. When you learn to be patient with each step, you stop needing the world's recognition. You know your worth is in the journey, not in the applause. Loving the process means learning to appreciate every failure, every repetition, every restart. You don't hate yourself for being weak today. You understand that today's weakness is tomorrow's foundation for strength. You don't hate yourself for speaking out of turn. You realize that holding back one more second means you're maturing. You don't resent not being rich yet. You see that every time you save instead of spending impulsively, you're laying a brick for your future freedom. When you view every effort as part of a greater picture, nothing feels meaningless. One of the highest signs of self-mastery is the absence of haste. The impatient are led by results. The calm are led by values. The impatient need success to feel worthy. The calm know that as long as they're moving in the right direction, they already are. And the irony is, once you stop obsessing over results, results come naturally because you've released the pressure, the fear, and begun acting from freedom instead of force. Look at nature. A seed isn't in a rush to become a tree. It only needs water, light, and time. It doesn't look at the trees beside it. In comparison, it simply grows at its own pace. Humans are the same. Each person has their own season. If you're in your season of planting, don't compare yourself to someone in their season of harvest. Your job isn't to reap, it's to water consistently. Loving the process means trusting your timing and not forcing yourself to bloom while you're still taking root. Most people don't quit because they're weak. They quit because they're tired of not seeing progress. They don't realize that progress isn't always visible. Sometimes silence times is times progress. Sometimes slowing down times is times progress. The fact that you no longer react the way you used to, that's massive progress. You can't measure growth by someone else's ruler. Inner change always precedes outer change. Only those patient enough to trust the process will ever reach true transformation. When you learn to love the process, you become consistent, not because you're motivated, but because you believe. You believe that each day you're building something bigger than yourself. Every time you control your words, you build respect. Every time you control your emotions, you build peace. Every time you control your money, you build freedom. Bit by bit, that's how a strong life is built. Loving the process also means learning to forgive yourself. There will be days you fail, lose your calm, or repeat old mistakes. But instead of self-criticism, smile and say, "Today I learned something new about myself." Forgiveness doesn't make you weak, it makes you persistent, because those who can't forgive themselves will never dare to keep going. Forgiveness is a quiet form of discipline, the discipline of compassion. Ultimately, loving the process is finding joy in the present moment, not waiting to be happy once you're in control, but being happy times as times you're learning control. Every time you choose silence, calmness, or discipline, you're already living the journey toward your higher self. And that is success in itself. So don't ask, "When will I change?" Ask, "Am I staying faithful to the process?" Don't chase motivation, build habits. Don't wish for quick results, wish for inner strength, because those who love the process never lose. They aren't defeated by failure, they're refined by it. And in the end, they don't just reach their goals, they become the kind of person who times them. Life doesn't reward perfection, it rewards persistence. In the end, it's not the smartest or the most talented who reach the finish line, but the ones who simply don't give up. Every lasting success is built on countless falls, countless risings, and countless quiet whispers of times, "I will come back." Asterisk. The strong are not those who never stumble. They too get tired, feel weak, and want to quit just like everyone else. The only difference is they come back. If they stop for a day, they return the next. If they fail 10 times, they return the 11th. If they've been betrayed, rejected, or lost faith in themselves, they still come back, because somewhere deep inside a part of them refuses to quit. The truth is, everyone has limits. But those who have self-control understand that limits aren't meant to be feared, they're meant to be stretched. Every time you return, your limits expand. The first time you rise, you do it with pain. The second time, with experience. The third time, with calm. And by the 10th, you rise not out of force, but instinct. The instinct of someone who refuses to stay down. The world may knock you down, but only you can decide whether to stay there. Others may hurt you, but only you can decide whether to remain in that pain or step beyond it. Time may erode your faith, but only you can decide whether to rebuild it. The choice is always yours, and coming back is your declaration that circumstances will not define you. You can rest, but don't quit. You can be tired, but don't stay still forever. You can fall, but don't forget to rise. Because every time you come back, you strengthen your belief that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. Maturity isn't about never failing. It's about returning to the right path each time you stray. That's the difference between living by emotion and living by commitment. There will be days when motivation disappears, when you wake up empty, uninspired, and unwilling to move. On those days, don't pressure yourself to be great. Just return to one small action, take a deep breath, write one line in your journal, read one page, take one short walk. Don't let exhaustion keep you still. For too long, stillness is where negative emotions take root. Move even a little, because that single step keeps you alive, keeps you flowing, keeps you open to new chances. Understand that coming back doesn't mean starting over. Each time you return with the wisdom of someone who's fallen. You're not beginning from zero, you're beginning from experience, resilience, and lessons learned. That's why each comeback takes you further than before. Failure only becomes final when you stop coming back. People with self-control aren't flawless, they're simply quick to correct. They don't stay in regret for long. They allow themselves to make mistakes, but never to stay trapped in them. They acknowledge, learn, and continue. You don't have to be strong right away, you just have to not stop forever. True control is knowing when to rest and when to rise. There's a beautiful image of persistence, a stream cutting through stone. It's not stronger than the rock, it just never stops flowing. Bit by bit, day after day, the water wears the stone away. In the end, the stone yields to the stream. Life is the same. As long as you keep moving even slowly, you're winning. Because the ones who stop are the ones who truly fail, and the ones who return always have another chance to succeed. Don't think that successful people never wanted to give up, they did. But every time they almost stopped, they remembered times they began. They remembered the moment they first believed in themselves. They remembered the promise they made not to live halfway. And that memory pulled them back. You're no different. Every time you feel like quitting, remember the moment you once decided to change your life. That moment never left. It's waiting for you to return to it. Coming back isn't weakness. It's proof of strength. Because only those who've fallen know how hard it is to rise, and only those who've risen know the worth of not giving up. The world won't remember how many times you fell, only how many times you stood back up. And when you look back, the moments you'll be proudest of won't be when you won, but when you refused to abandon yourself. In the end, remember this, you don't need to return perfect, just return times real asterisk. Return with your small faith, your scarred heart, your slow but steady steps. No one expects you to be invincible. The world doesn't need perfection, it needs perseverance. Because the consistent go further than the flawless, and those who come back even late still arrive. The strong are not those who never fall, but those who always return to themselves after each fall. Every time you come back, you send a message to the universe times I'm not done yet. Asterisk. And the universe always makes way for those who are not done. In the end, everything we're searching for isn't success, money, or power. It's inner freedom. Freedom to speak when it's needed and to stay silent when it's wise. Freedom to think clearly amidst chaos. Freedom to feel without being swept away by emotion. And freedom to use money as a tool, not a burden. Self-control doesn't make you perfect, it makes you authentic. A person who no longer needs to prove anything, win against anyone, or conquer the world, only to stop losing against themselves. Those who control their words don't do so out of fear of being wrong. They understand that words carry energy. Those who control their minds don't do so because they fear their thoughts. They understand that thoughts can become either prisons or wings. Those who control their emotions don't do so out of fear of pain. They simply choose healing over retaliation. And those who control their money aren't stingy. They know that true freedom doesn't live in a bank balance. It lives in how they live their lives. When you master these four, your words, your mind, your emotions, and your money, you no longer need the world to change for you to feel at peace. You become your own peace. Everything outside may shift, but you no longer sway with it. When someone insults you, you smile. When things fall apart, you remain calm. When you lose, you stay grounded. Because you know you possess a kind of power no one can ever take, the power of self-mastery. Freedom doesn't come when you have everything. It comes when nothing has you. When words don't control you, when thoughts don't drag you, when emotions don't blind you, and when money doesn't rule you. We don't train to become perfect. We train to become free, free in every word, every decision, every breath. And if you remember only one thing from everything you've learned, let it be, this self-mastery is the highest form of strength. Because when you control yourself, you can control everything else. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more awake ones. Those who know how to pause, to observe, to choose, and to return after every fall. Because that more than power, more than success is true freedom,